Many people have asked about getting the maxilla forward and up to counter this common problem of a maxilla that is back and down and impeding the airway, sometimes causing things like sleep apnea. So I thought I'd present just a quick look at this problem, though it will be relevant to most people, not just those of us who were damaged by traditional orthodontic treatment. Several people have asked if growth of the face is still possible in adults, but I have a simpler question. Can you move your maxilla? Maybe that sounds like a silly question, but we can of course move our frontal bone on our skull. We can point it in different directions and we can hold it up using the muscles of our skull and our neck and our torso and really our whole body. There are a number of muscles that attach to the maxilla. Can you use those muscles and all the muscles of the neck and torso to move your maxilla forward and up in space? We really must think about the torso, because if your lower sternum and lower ribs are shoved forward, your head will have to go back, and that means your maxilla will go back too. Most people in the modern world keep their head pulled back, which partially shuts off their airway. So from my perspective, no, we are not going to wait for our face to grow forward and up. We're going to move the whole head forward and up. This is necessary to lengthen the back and open the airway. Moving the head forward and up will change the position of the maxilla in space, but it will also change the effect that the muscles and fascia of the head are having on the bones of the skull. If we want our maxilla to be in its right place, doesn't it make sense to first get our skull more generally into its right place? Now, many of you who are interested in this maxilla question are using your tongues to push your maxilla up. That's a somewhat reasonable thing to try. The tongue is sitting right there after all, might as well use it for something. But what about all these other muscles in the skull that connect to the maxilla? Are they capable of moving the maxilla? Can we use these muscles to pull our palate, the roof of our mouth, apart, to widen it? Can we pull the palate forward and up, to move it in space? I think it may be that people are afraid to move their head forward. The up part always sounds nice, but forward? Am I even allowed to? Most of the mewers are more inclined to do a chin tuck than to let their head go forward as it goes up. So if you need permission, permission granted. But remember, we can't forget the torso that's holding us upright. Can your lower sternum go back when your maxilla goes forward? Can the back of your jaw rest in front of your lower sternum? Is that possible? What would happen to your airway if that were the case? I'll be doing an in-depth look at mewing in the not-too-distant future, but if this is a topic you're interested in, I really suggest you consider the questions I've asked in this video. Experiment a little. Can you move your maxilla? If you could, which direction would you move it? What would that do to your neck and your airway and your spine? If your maxilla and your head were in a new spot, how would the rest of your body have to change to make that possible? From my perspective, if you want to improve your posture generally, you will have to move your head forward and up. It's part of what's needed to lengthen the torso and stretch the thoracolumbar fascia at our back. So when someone says they want to grow their face forward, my initial thought is, maybe we ought to first try to stop pulling our head back. Because that is what most of us in the modern world are doing. We are shortening the back of the neck and pulling the back of the head down. This tilts the head back and pushes the maxilla back and down. Even a person who has a very forward neck will have to, in order to look straight ahead or look anyone in the eye, pull the back of their head back and down, again shortening the neck and retracting the maxilla. I had orthodontics in my mouth for most of my adolescence, so I know the damage that they exacerbate. But really, most people have a partially narrowed or obstructed airway. Most people in the modern world have a depressed maxilla. These are the inevitable results of the habitual movements that make up poor posture. This is why modern skulls look so different from older skulls. Those of us who had orthodontics just have it a bit more difficult. But we can take conscious control over how we use our body, and we can consciously move parts of our body into their correct orientation and location. We can choose to stop irrationally pulling parts of our body in one direction or the other. We explore how to do that on this channel with every part of the body, including the maxilla.